Hello, darlings, and welcome back to Diva Deep Cuts, where we uncover all the best songs you've never heard by the great divas of today and yesterday. I am your host, Ben, and thank you so much for watching on YouTube, Spotify, or listening wherever you get your podcasts. So today, we are going to be stepping through the brand new album from none other than Miss Dua Lipa called Radical Optimism. It's her third studio album, and I'm very excited to feature her on the channel because I've been a fan at least since Don't Start Now dropped in late 2019 to kick off the Future Nostalgia era. So I'm excited to talk about what she's served up this time. So, I guess my opinion on the whole is that I do rather like the album. Really, it's not as hooky and instant as Future Nostalgia or her self-titled debut album, but it is very solid. It's definitely a summer beach party kind of vibe, which the cover art hints to as well, with Dua Lipa swimming in the ocean with a shark. But yeah, it's a very warm, summery album that mixes up laid-back vibes and pulsing dance beats. I will say that my only qualm with the record really is the fact that I do not like the track sequencing. I am pretty forgiving when it comes to songs. I listen to songs multiple times to give them a chance. I try to find redeeming features in most songs, but one of the things that is unforgivable to me is poor track sequencing, where there's just an awkward transition, or it goes from one song to the next and it's very jarring. A good example of bad track sequencing is Katy Perry's Teenage Dream that goes from Firework to Peacock. It is just such a massive tone shift from the very serious and empowering Firework to the very silly, unserious, innuendo-filled Peacock. So that's really my main problem with this Dua Lipa album, is the sequencing of the first couple of tracks to me is off. The second problem I have are some of the single choices, which we'll get to in a minute. But I do not think End of an Era should be the opener. If only because it kind of ends, and then there's just this awkward pause of empty space for 4 or 5 seconds, and then Houdini kicks in. And it kills all of the energy and the momentum, and we're only at the end of the first track. Then Houdini and Training Season flow together pretty well, but then when we get to track 4, These Walls, there's again this huge tone shift from this sort of dark, edgy, underground dance sound of Houdini and Training Season that rolls back to this summer beachy vibe that we get for the rest of the record. And so both of those transitions are just very jarring to me. From then on, it's fine. These Walls into What You Doin' all the way through the end of the record is fine. It all is sonically cohesive. It makes sense. It's an enjoyable listening experience. So I would either move End of an Era to third or swap End of an Era and Training Season. And I kind of like the idea of Training Season as the opening track because the theme, the concept of it, of Training Season being over, at least in terms of Dua Lipa is not going to try to train a man anymore to be in a relationship with her. I think it's kind of like a good opener, and then it lands, and then there's her saying, okay, and then we roll right into Houdini, which is a similar kind of vibe, and then that lands. And then End of an Era, I think, makes a nice bridge to be okay, these were the 2 songs that kind of harken back the most to the dark disco nighttime vibes of Future Nostalgia, and then roll into End of an Era, which then leaves us in a more sonically consistent place to jump into These Walls and What You Doin' with the summer beach vibes. So that's my first qualm. My second qualm is why? Why on earth did they pick Training Season and Illusion as singles when there were songs like These Walls, French Exit, Falling Forever, and Maria as choices on this record? Like, Illusion is fun, but I feel like the hook is underwhelming and it doesn't really get stuck in my head too much. Whereas all those four album tracks that I just listed, they're very punchy, like in your face, memorable. And Training Season just kind of feels like Houdini Part 2. So to me, it was very repetitive to kind of release both of those. And the rhythmic staccato chorus of Training Season feels kind of similar to Break My Heart from Future Nostalgia. So it feels reductive to promote that as a single, in my opinion. So those are my qualms with the music itself. The promotional campaign was also weird to release Houdini right around Christmas, not promote it because of doing Dance the Night Barbie press, then to perform Training Season on the Grammys when Houdini was stalling in the US, but not release Training Season to streaming and downloads for 2 more weeks, and then to not even have an album announcement until we get Illusion released as the 3rd single about a month before. Like, it's a very long lead up campaign that I'm just like, what are they doing? So at least it seems like she's still doing well in Europe, which is her primary market, but in terms of promoting her in the United States, I don't know, it's weird choices were made this time around. So I hope it doesn't hurt her in the long run, because I greatly enjoy her music and want her to make more and to keep touring the US. So anyway, let me look up the track list really quick. Okay. What other songs do I love? Really, I like all of it. The only one that I find slightly underwhelming is the closing track, Happy For You. Like, again, kind of like Illusion, it's not a bad song, but it just doesn't stick in my head overly much. The rest of it, I mean, These Walls is very emotive, has an interesting concept, it pulls you in and kind of tells you a little story about a relationship that's ending. What You Doin' is kind of fun, a little bouncier. I love French Exit. It feels like very Ibiza, Mediterranean beach club vibes. What else do we have? Illusion is still fun, even though I think the hook is lacking. I'm trying to look at the track listing here. And it's still a great, like, dance number. I just think it should have remained an album track, or maybe like a 5th single, not the 3rd single when the first 2 underperformed relative to her past success. Falling Forever is a beautiful trancey number. Like, French Exit and Falling Forever give me early 2000s, like, subgenres of dance music that were popular in Europe at the time, which is very near and dear to my heart. Anything for Love, it should be marked as an interlude for how short it is, but it's cute and it's fun. It does feel like just as it gets going and gets some momentum behind it, it just ends all of a sudden, but it's still cute. And then the other one that I love is Maria. I love the little Spanish guitar part, the energy, the urgency, the interesting little story that Dua Lipa tells about seeing the traces of her man's previous woman, Maria, and how her presence, her fingerprints are sort of all over it, even if he doesn't want her anymore. It's like both a thank you and a little bit of insecurity. It's like, thank you for helping him become a better person, but also I'm afraid that there's a piece of him that will always prefer you. So, yeah. Oh, and I do like End of an Era. The Should Not Be album, but is album opener. Like, it's, I think it's the best bridge from Future Nostalgia to Radical Optimism. So I do quite enjoy it as well. So yeah, I think it's very cohesive listen. I just think she and her team have just made some odd choices this time around. But I'll be interested to see if there's more music to come and if they put out a complete edition like they've done for both of her studio albums so far. I feel like the complete editions just offered like a nice cap at the end of all of her album eras for fans who want to get everything in one version, don't have to make their own playlists or buy multiple versions of the album. So I'm going to hold out for that because I have a physical version of the complete edition or the Moonlight edition. Ah, you can see me without the glove. I have the complete edition of Future Nostalgia in a physical copy because it had everything from that album cycle, and it's just a great listen. So anyway, this one's a little shorter, but Dua Lipa served us a short version with the standard edition of her new album, Radical Optimism. So please, in the comments, in the poll questions on Spotify, in the reviews, in my email inbox, let me know what you think. What were your opinions of Radical Optimism? Has it grown on you if you've given it a couple spins? Is it not for you? How do you think it compares to Dua Lipa's past work and the quality that she's served us before? So thank you as always for checking out Diva Deep Cuts here on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Ben. Don't forget to go over to divadeepcuts.com and check out everything over there, which I need to update things, but I will get to it very soon. And I will see you next time.